Welcome back. Continuing our conversations on the markets, Prabhakar Kudva from Samvitti Capital is now joining in. Prabhakar, good morning. Thank you for joining in. I was looking at some of your holdings, and the interesting name that comes into sight includes a lot of these mid-cap names such as Vari Energies, some mid-cap pharma names as well, Synors Pharma, Newland Laboratories, Strides Pharma. Is it because of their domestic orientation is what is driving you to be bullish on these names compared to a lot of other large cap pharma names that considering their US exposure and the tariff uncertainties and so on?
Good morning. Thanks a lot for having me. No, actually, most of these names are not so much focused on the domestic markets. I think they're a mix of two or three themes. One of the larger themes that's playing out both globally as well as in the domestic markets is the theme of GLP-1. So a few of these companies actually manufacture the APIs and act as downstream API providers for a lot of GLP-1 drugs. So that is one. Second is, certain companies like Senores, have been working on certain large molecules, and they also have setups that are there in the US. So they are pretty much immune from any tariffs. So I think, to summarize, basically these ideas are a mix of the tailwinds seen in CDMO, primarily in the GLP-1, and certain, API manufacturers which are immune from the tariff restrictions because they have facilities that are up and running in the US or likely to be up and running in the next couple of quarters.
Last year, it was a tough year. I think your revenues were down 10%. If you could go back, Prabhakar, and do it differently, I mean, where did you get it wrong in terms of the market performance?
Yes, I think we would look at a market in terms of a cycle. I think the right way to analyze the performance of any fund is basically across a cycle. So if you step back and take a look at our 3-year, 5-year track record, then the numbers are significantly better. We've done almost twice that of the benchmark. Last year has been tough across the board, and the reason why we have underperformed, is because we have been primarily exposed to the mid and small cap space, right? And mid and small cap space typically gets punished more during a difficult market environment, and that's exactly what has happened. So if you look at this return over a cycle, right? So if you put
that's true. No, I understand that there are cycles and you need to see a longer term return over 3 years, 5 years. But it's a 10% decline in the last 1 year. I meant that with the wisdom of hindsight, could you have done things differently? Which were the stocks, which were the biggest drags? And are you still holding on to them or have you changed your thinking on them?
No, I think most of the stocks that were there in the portfolio still continue to be there. So I think there is no real lesson per se because, like I said, right, we have a thesis that if you want to generate alpha in the market, then the alpha is typically found in the mid and small cap space. So the good thing about the mid and small cap space is when the market cycle is good, you make a significantly large alpha over the broader market, which includes the large caps. And when the markets are bad, you take that hit. So that's what I said. So so I would look at it, or I would urge investors to look at it from a full cycle point of view. So it's very difficult for anybody to change the composition of the portfolio depending upon the regime change in the market, right? It's very difficult because a lot of it is known only in hindsight. So I don't think there was any structural mistakes, per se. It is just that we were operating, or we continue to operate in a space which typically underperforms during a sharp correction or a bearish phase, and outperforms during a bullish phase.
One space that has been picking up traction again after the beating that it received from their all-time highs is defense, and BEL is among those that are in your top holdings. Is BEL the only defense name that you have exposure to? Because a lot of these smaller names have also started to gain traction, say the Apollo Micros, the DCX Systems and the kinds. What's your call here on defense?
We own quite a few other defense names. Notably, we have a couple of these shipyard companies also. So I think defense is a decadal theme, right? Defense is a multi-year theme. So I think defense is likely to play across multiple cycles, and there is the opportunity is so big that the earnings of these companies, although will grow steadily, but I think the addressable TAM is very, very large. So we continue to hold them.
Okay, we'll leave the conversation here. Prabhakar, thank you very much for joining in. Look forward to more such. But by the way,